Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Oh my God, this is not a class. सब खड़े होके वालेकुम अस्सलाम. But yes, like बड़ा अच्छा introduction दिया. I feel like you guys are looking up to me now. But yes, my name is Akbar Chaudry and I am here because Saad Harun was busy. I don't really feel qualified to speak at a TED talk, but the organizers couldn't get hold of Gullu Bhatt, who is known for breaking barriers. So I am here. So anyway, I'm going to present before you my analysis of the show Breaking Bad. No, I'm just kidding. I have three perspectives on breaking barriers, and I would like to talk about them. But yes, please watch Breaking Bad. It's one hell of a show. Anyway, my first perspective on breaking barriers is when it comes to your career. Uh, Let me give you some context. I am a comedian. Most of you, if any of you who know actually who I am, probably know me in that context. But as the host mentioned, I am also an engineer. And you might think, "Arey, comedian, engineer? क्या weird combination है ये?" Much like shalwar kameez and jogger. But yeah, so earlier this year in May, I graduated from the University of Florida with a master's degree in aerospace engineering. And I took courses with daunting names like advanced computational fluid dynamics and convective heat transfer. These courses were not funny. And I was very happy there, and I graduated with a CGPA of 3.7. In contrast, पैसे खिलाए थे मैंने वहाँ भी पाकिस्तानी था एक In contrast, I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering from PNEC NUST, and I was very unhappy there. I received a scholarship on admission to NUST, but ended up graduating with a GPA of 2.8. And with broken spirits, contempt for my teachers, and no interest in engineering whatsoever. So I don't say these things to flaunt my achievement or invite sympathy. I say these to put some context about what I want to tell you guys. And that is, okay, GPA does not matter as much as you think it does. It is far more important to develop your skills holistically as a person. There is no point to having a 4.0 GPA and being unable to talk to your interviewer or your friends or your lovers, for example. Um, but having said that, having a higher GPA certainly opens more doors than a low one does. So that is my first point. The second one is, okay, throughout my time at NUST, I was continuously told by my teachers that you cannot be an engineer and a comedian at the same time. You must stick to one path. And and it doesn't bother me that my teachers did not believe in me because I was able to accomplish what I wanted to regardless. What bothers me is that my classmates and other people who could have done well with being encouraged, their dreams and aspirations were squashed. So I personally feel that people don't say these things out of a place of malice. They don't disbelieve in you out of malicious intentions. It is usually a projection of their own limitations. So who surround yourself with the people who enable your aspirations, and you will soar as high as the media students are right now. So that is one thing. And finally, upon the first perspective, never take the easy way out. I've personally observed this pattern in my journey thus far. After graduating, I had a very nice corporate job, and by very nice corporate job, I mean it paid really well. But I quit that, and then I took up comedy full time for 2 years, and it was going really well. After which, I put that on hold and went abroad for grad school. And instead of staying back and doing another very nice corporate job, जहाँ डॉलर में पैसा मिलता था, I came back and started doing this instead. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong in doing a corporate job. It's perfectly all right to graduate, put yourself through the system, and rise up the ladder. But you will not break any barriers if you stick to the easiest path. That is my opinion. You are not going to break any barriers if you're another cog in the economic machine, so to speak. That is my first point of view on breaking barriers. Number two is breaking barriers when it comes to art and science. We grow up thinking that art and science are two distinct things with little or no overlap. I have been privileged to dabble in both the arts and sciences, and I firmly believe that an artist can benefit as much from an appreciation of scientific structures as a scientist can with an appreciation of the arts. Because think about it, is it really natural to separate arts from science? Does that make sense to you? And the answer to that is no, it is not. You can turn to nature and think, just look at a waterfall, for example. Um, it looks beautiful, it is inspirational for many artists, it is a piece of art within itself, and yet the same thing you can apply a bunch of equations and describe the fluid behavior exactly. A spider does not know the complexity of the web it weaves, and yet it is both visually and mathematically sound. So, separation of the arts and sciences, in my opinion, unnatural. And and I think especially in our society, where we grow up and we are told कि engineer बनना है, doctor बनना है, lawyer बनना है, accountant बनना है. Nobody ever says, no desi parent has ever said कि बेटा बड़े होके comedian बन जाओ या doctor के बजाय dance सीखना. Nobody ever says that. And why is that? Is it that there's only a bunch of professions which will make you successful? No, it is not like that at all. Back in 2011, when I started doing comedy, there was a handful of comedians and even fewer shows. Since then, I've done hundreds of shows across Pakistan in a few other countries as well. And my improv group, Lol Wale, we've done over 100 shows in various cities across Pakistan. And back in 2015, we started this amateur comedy thing, which has blossomed into what is it? Over 100 people in the comedy community now. And if you do follow comedy, you'll see that there are many shows every weekend now. So we went from having literally a bunch of shows once in a year to having multiple shows on a weekend. That is good progress. And 5 years ago, nobody would have thought this possible, but here we are. And the meteoric rise in stand-up comedy and improv, especially in Karachi, आप सब देख सकते हैं. And my final perspective on breaking barriers is breaking barriers using comedy. Um, you might have heard this saying, that when you make somebody laugh, you give up yourselves currently to them. Basically, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि you can make anybody like you if you make them laugh. And this is most evident in late night shows. Like, for example, if you watch Late Night with, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, that is what it is. Even locally, if you follow the work of Junaid Akram, that is what it is. Using humor to talk about taboo things, tackling uncomfortable subjects which people are not normally comfortable talking about. So that is the power of humor. And a lot of people have asked me over the past few years, कि ये comedian engineering का क्या करोगे तुम? And my vision is, it's not it's not common, but at least I feel very passionately about this, is that engineering is inherently a very dry subject. And if I am able to use my comedy talents to teach engineering in a more relatable, more engaging, palatable way, then I think I can do a service to the students in this country instead of because when we are students, everybody holds us accountable. Nobody holds the teachers accountable for actually being good or being entertaining or engaging. तो जी ये मेरा एक मिशन है. Last year around this time, I was performing at a Diwali event in America in front of about 400 Indians, and I ended my set with this line that the average Pakistani has no reason to hate India. You gave us Sania Mirza and only took Adnan Sami. That video has since been viewed over 1 million times, and the comments are full of Pakistanis and Indians talking about peace and understanding their similarities. So that is the power of humor, that it humanized me, a Pakistani, in front of 400 Indians, most of whom had not even met a Pakistani in their lives. And as we often hear, with power comes responsibility. And that brings me to my final thought on the matter, that we should use comedy or humor responsibly. All of us crack jokes in our everyday lives. We, as comedians, maybe have a larger responsibility because we talk to a larger audience. But the point is that our words have impact. Our words matter. The words we use, they matter. For example, if you take the Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy debate, it from the perspective or principle of a comedian, I believe that absolutely everything and anything should be and can be joked about. But if I wanted to joke about this thing, it is okay if I, for example, joked about शर्मीन ओबैद ने अपना ऑस्कर पिघला दिया और उसका एक सेट बना दिया ज्वेलरी का, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. बहुत घटिया जोक है, मैं नहीं करूंगा कभी. But that is one way to joke about it. But it is not okay to joke about harassment, because when we joke about something, it loses power. When we joke about something, it trivializes the matter. And in my, to the best of my knowledge, one example is the Ku Klux Klan in America. It's one of the oldest or maybe largest white supremacist groups, and they're basically a bunch of racists. And what happened was, one man, he infiltrated their ranks, learned all their secrets, and told everybody, to the point where kids on the streets were playing with KKK costumes and just having a good time. So that little thing about making light of their whole agenda, that led to the downfall of the KKK. So basically, just to reiterate the point, when we joke about something, it loses power. And therefore, when we joke about something like harassment, it trivializes it, and that is not okay, because the men and women in our lives, they have experienced it, and it is not okay for us to trivialize or make light of their plight. That is all. And I would like to leave you all with one final thought. Please watch Breaking Bad, it is good. Thank you all so much.